Hello, this is Jim McKeeth, and welcome to another episode of the podcast at Delphi.org. In this episode, we talk to Embarcadero MVP Victory Fernandez down in Brazil. This episode was actually recorded a few weeks ago, which was before the Embarcadero event in Brazil, the big Delphi conference we have down there. So Victory will talk about that event as if it was in the future, but it actually was just a couple weeks ago. Beyond that, everything we talk about is very relevant, very cool. Victory is doing some really interesting stuff with embedded application development, industrial applications, and even some applications in the medical field. Very cool and exciting stuff, and I'm excited to have Victory on the podcast today.
Hi, Jim. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure. I hope I can answer a little bit of questions and let people know a little bit more of what we do here in Brazil with Delphi.
Yeah, it's exciting. So where at in Brazil are you?
Well, I'm in Northeast Brazil, a city called Salvador. I mean, it's not El Salvador, it's just Salvador. And we are very famous for Carnival, and we have wonderful places to visit. All the year it's sunny, and it's a pretty much nice place to develop in front of the sea, like having some coconut water.
Oh, wow. So I've been to Brazil twice and met you twice, but it was in Sao Paulo, but this sounds like much nicer place to be.
Yeah, Sao Paulo is always cloudy, and it's a big city. I mean, Salvador is also a 2 million people city, but not as big as Sao Paulo.
Yeah, wow. Sounds nice. Well, one of these days I'll have to make my way up there to visit your hometown as well.
You're already invited.
I appreciate that. I know I see on Facebook you post some pictures and stuff, and it just looks like such a neat place to be.
Yes, I mean, during the week, it's hard work. But during the weekends, I mean, the beaches are always like 5 minutes away. We have lots of swimming pools and a lot of sunny activities to perform. And it's always sunny and always hot.
Excellent. Sounds nice. Yeah, here in where I live, it's in the summertime it's always hot. In the wintertime it's cold, but we don't have beaches or anything like that nearby. It's just hot. It's desert, technically.
I mean, for us, it's sunny or rain. During like 3 or 4 months in the year, it usually rains. Like today, it rained in the morning. Now it's not cloudy at all, but it's always sunny. And I mean, when it rains, I cannot go out with my motorcycle, which is my hobby. Mm-hmm. I cannot come to work on my motorcycle. So what a shame. Yeah.
So Delphi seems to be huge in Brazil. Is that your impression as well?
Yes. Delphi is huge in Brazil still. And I mean, it all started back in the 90s. And when I first heard about Delphi, it was around 1997, 1998, when I started to develop software professionally. Mm-hmm. And by that time, I founded my company, and I had to decide what would be the platform to go. And in 1998, I took the decision for Delphi 3, although I was not able to program in Delphi by that time. I mean, I was a rookie, and I had some lessons in Visual Basic. But when I saw Delphi 3, I knew that it would be much better if I could do things in Delphi. So we decided for Delphi, and I started my company back in 1998 running Delphi 3.
Did you say you were a hookie? Is that right?
Yes.
What does that term mean?
Well, I was just learning how to develop. I had some basic classes, and
okay.
I didn't know how to run database applications, client-server applications. I was in my very beginning.
Okay. Yeah, I actually got my first exposure to Delphi around Delphi 2, Delphi 3. But I had used Turbo Pascal previously. But Delphi, I started about the same time you did into Delphi.
Yes, I was, how old I was? Around 18 years old, 19. I went into college, and I decided not to work for anyone else. I decided to start my own company and start developing software. So I started to learn about Visual Basic. I had classes that I could take on Visual Basic, and I actually started making some applications out of simple database and stuff like that. Yeah. And when it got serious, I had to decide if I would go for Visual Basic or Delphi. And by that time, Delphi 3 seemed like the best decision. So that's the decision I took, and I do not regret. I mean, I think it was the right decision to take.
Excellent, yeah. Visual Basic's like almost gone anymore. It seems like you hardly hear any mention of it at all. Especially since the .NET, Visual Basic for .NET is just kind of faded away.
Yes. Well, it was very important by that time also the backward compatibility. I mean, that concept was very important for me because when I first tried to change versions in Visual Basic, we had those DLLs, and it was not very easy an easy thing to do. And Delphi made it very transparent by that time. So
yeah, that's always been something I loved about Delphi, is that it values your existing work, right? It makes it easy for you to move forward, but that it moves forward and has great new features and new versions coming out all the time. So it's not like you're stuck using the old version, but you can bring everything forward and keep it fresh and exciting.
Yes. I jumped from Delphi 3 to Delphi 5. I stood with Delphi 5 for a very short period of time. Then I jumped to Delphi 6 because we had some very important improvements regarding datasets and stuff like that. And then we stood with Delphi 6 for, a little bit of time. I mean, a longer time. I had some experiences with Delphi 7. By the time I could not actually tell if I really needed Delphi 7. And then we had some works here with Delphi 2009. 2010 was very important for us. We stuck with 2010 for a long time. And after that, I think I've been upgrading more often.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what kind of work do you do with Delphi? What's your company called?
Okay, my company is called TKS Software.
TKS.
People can check it on tkssoftware.com. We have more information there, basically in Brazilian Portuguese, but I think you can use like Google Auto Translator in the browser to translate for any language you are running from. As an engineer, I was always trying to push my work into software, but not regular. I mean, some people may not be happy with that, but not regular form and database communication stuff. I wanted to do more. I wanted to go beyond the computer. I wanted to communicate with equipments, with hardware from third parties, and so on. So I focused all my work on engineering stuff, on software for factories. I wanted my software is to automate and run big factories. That was my dream back in 1998 when I started by the age of 18 or 19 years old. So that's what we started doing, and we started to integrate with all kinds of hardwares, from gas pumps, from PBXs, from scales, from PLCs, all kind of hardware that we could deliver automation to factories in all their sectors. So we started to develop software under that concept, and we focused all the work of our company in that kind of concept.
All right. So your degree is in electrical engineering, and so you focused on how to apply combined software and the engineering side of things.
Yes. I've been talking about integrating Delphi with microcontrollers way before people even knew what microcontrollers were. I mean,
before they were cool. So I've seen some of the stuff you've done, like there's a Ford factory down there that's all running on Delphi. Is that right?
Yes. We have a very big Ford factory near here, like 50 kilometers from my office. And we have like 60 screwdrivers running in real time, and we have to track torque and angle for all those screwdrivers. I mean, if you have any Ford EcoSport or Ford Fiesta, and now also the Ford KA that is produced in Brazil, it is tracked by my system.
Wow.
I mean, we track all the screws from engine, from suspension, rear suspension, and brake systems. If you put a screw in this part of the system, you have to guarantee that the screw is applied with the right angle and right torque. So our system tracks the torque and angle that the screwdriver is applying and says if it's inside the limits that is desired for the kind of model that is going through the production line. And after that, we can track all the production and say if the engine was built in the proper way or if you have to rework some part of it and check anything that went wrong.
Wow. So is it monitoring the Delphi application is monitoring that data in real time then?
Yes, it's monitoring the 60 screwdrivers in real time, 24/7, hours a day, and also running almost 1,000 cars a day. They produce also almost 1,000 cars a day.
Wow. So how long has that application been running down there to monitor those screwdrivers?
It's been there for at least 5 years now.
Yeah. And I take it it's all working well and producing good cars, it sounds like.
Yes. It's pretty comfortable. I mean, I have a contract to guarantee that the solution runs perfectly. I mean, I'm supposed to be available for them at least 32 hours a month, and they pay me for that. But what happens is that it's very, very rare for they to call me and say, okay, we need those 32 hours. I mean, I'm here. You can call me at any time, but I will only go there if any problem shows. It's very, very rare for me to go there.
Well, that's the way to do it.
Yes. Sometimes they're like, okay, maybe we do not need the 32 hours. And I say, okay, you pay me the 32 hours for me not going there. I mean, it's like an insurance. You don't want to use it. Exactly.
Because, if you're not showing up, that means they have no downtime.
Yes.
And I saw he had another system where it was automatically weighing trucks. Is that right?
Yes, we have. That's when it comes in for the Ford system, we have a problem in systems like that. I mean, if you focus on developing software for tracking information in a very specific environment of the factory, it most probably means that you're not going to resell this very specific system for 10 different companies because it's very designed for their needs. It also means that it's very hard to take my system away out of Ford and put some other people's software there, but it means that I'm not going to multiply my money. So what happens is that we have some other solutions for factories that are more general stuff, and one of them is weighting trucks. I mean, whenever you load a truck, you need to weight the truck before it goes inside the factory, and then you load the truck, and then you weight the truck again, and you have to check if everything you wanted to be inside the truck is okay and stuff like that. So the system does everything in an autonomously way. I mean, you don't have to have any operator there to open the gates for the truck to go in or request the scale to send information. It all runs automatically. It's like a drive-through for trucks. I mean, you can just go in, wait your truck in the way in, and wait your truck in the way out, and the system checks everything, including documentation of the truck and stuff like that.
Now, I'm assuming it's collecting this information into a database. Is that right?
Yes. In this case, we usually have two databases running, one locally, for my system, which usually the first option is Interbase. The second option for us is SQL Server from Microsoft. And but we usually have a second database, which is the client third-party ERP database,
sure,
which usually is SAP. If we're talking big clients, they're running SAP. And if we're talking medium-sized clients and some big clients, they're most probably also talking TOTUS. TOTUS is the biggest ERP company in Brazil. And I think their market share in Brazil is almost as big as SAP. The difference is regarding the size of the companies. Okay. But in the medium segment, they're very strong. So we usually send data to their databases so they can know in real time that the truck went out, and they can update all other information in their systems. That's the major thing that we do. We provide information from factory floor, hardware, and equipment to higher systems like SAP, TOTUS, ERP systems.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So as far as Delphi suitability for stuff like this, do you feel that Delphi is the best solution out there for this kind of real-time data collection, talking to databases type systems?
Yes. I mean, every time I need to communicate with some kind of hardware from serial COM ports like RS-232 or RS-485, I never had a problem. And then when I went to communicate with OPC's OPC stack from PLCs, we also never had a problem. We could always find a solution, a way through, or a component for someone around the world to make the things easier. But yes, it was perfect.
Yeah, something I've always loved about Delphi is just the richness of the developer community and the component marketplace, and then just being able to find whatever you need. It's like, oh, I need this, and there it is. Let's put that together. Boom. You're 90% of the way there.
Yes. Well, and when it comes to that, I mean, after a certain time, we started to provide also some components for the market too. Like if you check on the internet, you will find that, for example, we have components for communicating with scales from Toledo. Toledo, Brazil is a company that has 90% of the market share in scales, from the small ones, the precision ones, to the heavy truck scales. They own Brazil. So we have components to communicate with their scales. We do the final work. I mean, if the client wants to hire our software, we have solution for them. But if they want to hire anyone else, we have lots of people running our components. So we also went on this way.
Wow. It seemed like you showed me you had some free components as well for doing some math stuff I didn't quite understand.
Yes. I mean, back in the university, I used to play around with Delphi in order to make the concepts from hard math calculus disciplines to go into my head. So I was like, okay, I do not quite understand this, but I know if I do an algorithm, then I would think this is fun and I will learn it faster. So I had some works published online, Swiss Delphi Center. You will find, like, for example, a solution for the Gauss elimination process. It's a very simple math concept that you learn in the calculus, numerical calculus disciplines if you are into engineering in any place in the world. And I used to do this kind of, it was just for fun.
Mm-hmm. Cool. The two times I've been down to Brazil was for the Embarcadero conference down in Brazil, which you are a regular presenter at. What's some of the topics you've presented at down there at that conference? Okay.
Well, back in 2010, I was traveling on vacation with my wife. I was in Miami, and I received a call from Embarcadero saying they had this MVP program and inviting me to participate on it. I was very pleased with that, and I accept the invitation. And since 2010, I've been presenting in all Embarcadero conferences. I always try to bring something different. So I have presented, like, for example, a speech about Connect. I mean, I worked with Simon Stuart.
Okay.
And he's in England, and I was in Brazil. So we started to work together, and he came out with this great solution to communicate with Connect. And by that time, I was amazed with that. And I talked to him, and I said, okay, let me contribute. And I did some work together with him. And then I presented this work in the Embarcadero conference like 6 or 9 months after the Kinect was launched. And it was very nice by that time. People did not know that Delphi was able to do stuff like that.
So and then the Microsoft Kinect for the 3D visualization.
Yes. I mean, at the conference, I actually presented a solution that I could move things with my hands based on a Delphi application running in the background. Mm-hmm. So it was very nice.
Wow, cool.
And I also have done some presentations based on Arduino. I showed how I mean, in the first year that Delphi presented the possibility to develop applications for the mobile environment with Android and iOS.
Right.
By the time, only iOS. Mm-hmm. I showed how you could press a button on your iPhone and light up a lamp using Arduino as a middleware. Like, it was very simple, very simple application, but the concept was very interesting because the people by that time were not like very into the microcontroller world. I mean, everyone now is talking IoT. Everyone now is talking gadgets and is talking Arduino and all kinds of microcontrollers.
Right.
But 5 to 10 years before, no one was talking about that. And that was my thing, because if you think PLC, if you think scales, if you think PDXs, if you think like gas pumps, all those hardwares are based in microcontrollers. And by that time, I was very into that kind of thing. And it was very hard to make people understand the way we were going to. And now it seems that like everyone understood.
So how are you doing the connectivity between the mobile device and the Arduino with that?
Okay. Well, in Arduino we had like a socket for TCPIP stack. So I did a very simple application running in the environment that was a client for a socket server application running on my computer. So I would communicate from the application in my cell phone. I would send a socket message to a server that could be anywhere in the world. And from that server, I would send the information back to the Arduino. I mean, the Arduino knew the IP for the server, and my iOS device knew the IP address for the server too. Mm-hmm. The idea of communicating both the iOS directly to Arduino did not seem a very good idea by that time, considering the final application I had, where the Arduino would be based on a dial-up solution, so the IP address would change constantly. So we had this middle server, like managing everything together. Oh, okay. I actually have a video explaining the concept, and it's in English on my YouTube channel. If you check Victory Fernandez on YouTube, you will find my channel. I have 500 plus subscribers, and I have a video there showing this, because I almost traveled to Australia to the ADUG symposium they run there.
Right.
I was one of the finalists with this submission, but at the end they decided for someone else.
I'll have to check that video out. That sounds really cool.
Yes, it's very nice.
I've seen lately people have been doing a lot of cool things with Arduinos and Delphi, talking to from the Delphi app, talking to Arduino either through Bluetooth or through a serial port or something like that, or a direct connection.
Yes. Now it's getting common. I mean, everyone is running stuff like that. I started to work with microcontrollers back in 2006. So it's been a long time now. And when I first started, I used to run with 851 from Atimel. some very big boards and stuff like that. Then I got to know PIC. We call PIC here in Brazil. Mm-hmm. And by that time I had to make my boards from scratch. It was very complicated, but I actually have this small museum here in my company. I'm looking at it, where I have some robots back from 2006. And after that, we started to run with faster microprocessors. And at the end, I ended up now with Mbed for my master's degree graduation. I just got a master's degree, which I integrate Mbed, which is ARM-based board with Delphi. So I've been doing this kind of thing for more than 10 years now.
Is that a new board that you got? Or I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Yes, you can check embed.org. It's a very nice board. Let me just confirm this address. Yes, it's embed.org. So if you check embed.org, you see it's a very nice board. They allow you to develop via your browser. So they have kind of a social network that you go in, you develop your software for Mbed. You can, with one click, make it public for the whole network. It's very simple, and it's very well. It works very well, and it's an ARM-based board. So we are talking 32 bits microprocessors. It's very fast.
Yeah, Mbed, Mary Ben Edward David.com. Yep. I thought it was Mbad. That's something different. It's Mbed. Got it. Cool. That looks really cool. Actually, I was looking at another system that's called Electric Imp that sounds similar in that you go to the website in order to program the device and its connected device. So I'll check this out as well. So now you have a degree in electrical engineering, but also a degree in neuroscience. Is that right?
Yes. 3 years ago, I started in a medicine course. I was actually in a classroom with 30 to 40 doctors. And I started a master's degree in medicine neuroscience. And my main target was to develop a hardware, a device that could track Parkinson's disease tremors based on accelerometers. So I needed to go to the medicine neuroscience department in order to be able to run tests with the equipment in patients, in real people, in an immunoglobulin, we say. So yes, I did the master's degree. I finished in November last year. And at the end, we have this solution, which is a box. And you have the accelerometers that you can fix in the upper limbs, in the patient's upper limbs. And it tracks the tremor during all day. It records information in memory cards. And then it lets you understand the tremor using graphic information in a Delphi developed application. You can track the tremor in real time. If you connect the device in the USB port, the Delphi application automatically detects it and it starts tracking the tremor. And it can also do what we call offline mode, where you record everything in the memory card and then you download and you can check the patient activity during the day. So with the software, we use that an Inter-based database in order to create a profile for the patient, to compare tremors from now to like 6 months from now. You can run different tests, and then you can see how the disease is going on, or how the medication is going on. I mean, how the patient is responding to the medication.
Wow, that's interesting. So you were interested in creating this solution for Parkinson's, and that's why you went into getting that master's degree in medical neuroscience.
Yes. It was not something for to make money out of it. It was like an academic work, but it was focused on engineering. It was focused on Delphi. So I tried to keep everything in my life going on that way.
Engineering in Delphi, huh?
Yes.
I love it. So I love that you've done all these diverse things: Internet of Things connectivity, embedded controllers, industrial automation, and medicine, monitoring patients' tremors and stuff for Parkinson's disease. And it's all connected through your love of engineering in Delphi, and that you're finding, you're using Interbase and Delphi to weigh trucks, and Interbase and Delphi to track how people are doing with their Parkinson's medication. It's neat to see that diversity, especially one person reaching that much breadth.
Yes. I mean, I try to separate what I make money out of it. It's industrial stuff. And then I have a friend that says that one day we may save the world. So I try to focus on that.
And one day you'll save the world with Delphi and an Interbase database, it sounds like.
Who knows? Let's hope for that.
Yes, that would be great. So now, in addition to speaking at the Embarcadero conference in Brazil, you've also worked as a Delphi trainer as well, correct?
Yes, I've been Embarcadero Brazil training manager for the last 2 years. And in Brazil, we have a network of training centers. We have 8 training centers all over Brazil. I mean, if you think Brazil, you have to think a country that is the size of a continent. I mean, sometimes it's easy to explain that for someone from Canada or someone from the US, but sometimes it's not very easy to explain that for someone, let's say, from Italy or France, because their countries are smaller and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So Brazil is huge. So we have people using Delphi all around Brazil, and we try to have this network that is able to train people in every place. So we are not yet running online training. There are like several things, including piracy of content, stuff like that we have to deal with. So all the training are done in official training centers that they have rooms, they have computers for all the students and stuff like that. So I used to manage all that and also create the content for the trainings and stuff like that. Actually, the official trainings for iOS development and Android development in Brazil, there are the trainings that are in use now. I was the one to actually write the content. So
wow,
it's very nice. I mean, it was a very nice experience.
So it seems like that Brazil, you should point out, Brazil is huge, but it seems like Brazil seems to have a rather high concentration of Delphi developers and interest in Delphi. Do you think have any theories about why Delphi is so hot in Brazil compared to other countries?
No, I don't have this answer. Back in 1998, it was for me a matter of choosing, and I have by that time few people that I could contact. If you think 1998 in Brazil, I mean we had internet, dial-up internet, and not high-speed internet by that time, so it was not based on internet, and people communicate over internet only. I don't have the answer, but by that time, almost everyone was using it, and it only got bigger and bigger from then. And from the iOS and Android versions of Delphi, it's getting again bigger and bigger. I mean, everyone is starting to choose Delphi because it's way easier to develop for multiple platforms using Delphi. Every time I go to the university and I show the students, the guys that are starting now to program, and I show how easy it is to do something in Delphi for iOS or Android, they were like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
So I don't have an answer for that, but I know it's huge.
I guess.
I mean, you can take by the number of attendees in the Embarcadero conference. Every year we have 600 plus attendees in the conference. I think it's one of the biggest, most probably the biggest conference around the world.
Yeah, it's huge. I guess probably the real question is, why isn't Delphi as big in other countries? Brazil's got the answer, obviously. Everybody else just needs to catch on.
We can keep chasing for this answer. I don't have the answer.
So lately, you've seen, you kind of mentioned that Embarcadero has added the emphasis on Delphi with the Internet of Things and stuff like that. Do you see Internet of Things as being a really important trend going forward that more people need to be aware of?
Yes, definitely. It's something that is happening, and we are going toward that. But I mean, for me, on my way of seeing, on my way of making money, I know that this is something I must be aware of and I must follow very close. But at the moment, I don't have a solution on how to make money out of that. I mean, I'm very clear on that at this moment. It's like cell phones. Like if you take 10, maybe 15 years before, only a few people had cell phones, and you knew that you had to, I have to pay attention on that. Maybe at some point it will change the way things are, but 15 years ago, I could not tell that the world would be as it is now. I mean, I could not tell how I would make money out of that, out of cell phones from 15 years ago.
Sure.
For me, it's like the same with IoT. I mean, I know that this is something I must keep my eye on, and I've been working with microcontrollers for 10 years now, but I don't have, like, for example, a final client, like a big client, like Ford or Petrobras or any other of our big clients demanding solutions out of that. And I don't have also a final solution that I could make money out of like people from all around the world. But I know that at certain point, maybe I did not quite understand yet how it's going to change the world, but for sure it is going to. So I keep my eye on it. I'm working with it. I have some small solutions I've been developing and some ideas that I've been trying, but still it's very, very small. I mean, it's not something I can make my living out of it, at least for me, at least in Brazil. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems to be, like you said, something that is certainly coming on, and I think your analogy comparing it to the early days of the cell phone it's as adequate. You know, that it's exciting right now, but we're still not quite sure exactly what the final form is going to be in. But it's certainly something we want to.
Yes, and it's at some point maybe. Like a 15-year-old guy in India or in the Silicon Valley or in Brazil will come up with an idea, and I will say, okay, how come I did not think about that before? I had all the tools, I had all the everything I needed, but I did not have the idea. So I try to keep my ideas on, and that's mainly why I try to make very different things, like work with medicine, work with factories, and at certain point try to put these things together.
Pretty cool, yeah. For
the medicine applications, there are several IoT concepts that can be developed. So, I mean, at a certain point, it will come up. We will come up with something, but not now.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was in Brazil last, I was doing the presentation with the EEG headset and the drone.
Yes.
It's exciting stuff. I didn't realize you were at a master's in neuroscience, and I think it's exciting, this possibility that we're seeing now, that we're looking at ways to unlock the brain and communicate directly with the brain to computers. You know, it's exciting stuff.
Yes, it's fantastic. I mean, well, I usually talk about this with my mother. She's a psychologist. She does not understand anything about engineer or programming. But I like to talk to her because as a psychologist, she can see through people's behavior and stuff like that.
Sure.
And it's been like 1 week I was talking to her, and I looked at my phone and I said, okay, think about that. In a few years, like 10 years from now, it may be possible that I will only look to my phone and he will know that I want to call my sister. And she was like, how come? How come this is possible? But if you start to check the IoT concept, the brain integration solutions that we have now and are working, I mean, we have proofs that it works.
Right.
It's just a matter of getting more complex applications to run in simpler ways. And I mean, I don't need to dial a number. I know that my sister is the third number in my favorite list. So I should only think my sister's name or think about third favorite number, and it should dial by itself. It's going to happen. It's going to happen for sure.
Yeah. It's scary how many times I've been in a conversation with somebody and then it's like, what's this? And, some trivia comes up you don't know the answer for it. I'll pull out my phone and I'll start typing the question into Google. And how many times Google's like, does a suggestion of exactly what I was just discussing. And I've only typed maybe 5 letters in. And I don't know.
Yes.
I know that Google looks at like where your position is and what's going on. And, we're probably talking about maybe some current events or something like that. Then Google's saying, you might be searching about current events, but it just is amazing how often it's able to pull that up based on essentially mining the data about my location, my past searches, what's currently going on. And so again, you think about combining that data mining that's already going on and that, really artificial intelligence being applied to that data mining, and then add in, information that it can pull from direct brain interface. And you're right, it's going to be no time at all. And you're going to think, hey, I want to call my sister, and your phone's going to already be connected before you get out of your pocket.
Yes. And 5-6 years ago, I went to Hannover Messe, which is the biggest fair in the automation industry in Europe. And I've been going to Hannover Messe every year since 2010, I think. And the first time I was there, 5 years ago, I was with my father, and we were walking through some booths. And I mean, it's Hanover, they speak German. I can do a little German, but it's only enough for me not to starve or get lost, okay? So when we stopped by a booth, there was no one able to speak English. Of course, no one able to speak Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese as well. And we had this one guy speaking German. We could not communicate with him very well. We could not understand exactly what he was talking about. And I said to my father, I said, okay, this is so stupid because I should tap him in the chest, and some device in my pocket should know that I want to pair with him, and then he would just start speaking German, but I would listen in my earplug Brazilian Portuguese. and my father laughed. I mean, it was 5 or 6 years ago, and my father laughed. And my father is from the technology environment, and he laughed like, okay, maybe you think like Captain Spock in Star Trek Adventures.
Yep.
Like we are years away from that. And I said, maybe not that much. And recently when Microsoft, they actually showed Skype doing what we are doing. I mean, you could be speaking English, I could be speaking Brazilian Portuguese, and the Skype is already translating in real time. And then they showed the video running this. And I said, okay, how long do you think it is going to take for this solution to be into one mobile device? Because that's all it takes. I mean, we could use NFC to put both cell phones together, so the cell phones know that I want to pair with you, and it's just a matter of having enough processor power, enough memory, enough bandwidth from internet in order to make this possible. So It was only 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how fast something like that changes. And that would be brilliant to be able to do that and just to be able to say, hey, let's auto-translate this, and it would just do it for you.
Yes, I've been learning like English all my life. Now I started last year. I started to learn Spanish. I've been studying a little bit of German. Maybe my grandchildren won't have to do that. I don't have grandchildren. I have a child which is 2 years old, but I think that maybe my grandchildren won't study any other language. Who knows?
You know, it's impressive today how effective the voice recognition is on like Android, you know, on iOS as far as being able to recognize it. It's like 90+% accuracy most of the time.
Yes. Well, when it comes for engineering, I mean, it's if you think about the mobile devices, they are computers. I mean, at the end, they are computers.
Right.
But what I like to do is go beyond that. I mean, in order to light up a lamp, in order to get information, temperature information for a room, everything which is based on sensors and stuff like that may at certain point not be able to be inside the phone. At certain point, it may be outside the phone. So we are talking IoT, we are talking gadgets, we are talking communicating with cars and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. I think it's going to be out of the factories and start to get into our daily life.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of IoT really is the technology you've been working with in the factories, the microcontrollers and the sensors moving out of the factory and moving into everywhere and everybody's lives and stuff. So yeah, that's certainly exciting. So a couple more questions before we wrap up here. First one is, do you prefer iOS or Android for your personal phone and why?
Oh, actually, I was an Android guy, 100% Android, until I received as a gift my first iPhone. So 4 years ago, I had this aunt of mine that gave me an iPhone. And I said, okay, I will try this, but I really like Android. And then I was done with Android, and ever since I only have iPhones. So yes, today I'm a 100% iPhone.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I started out with the iPhone, but then switched to Android. But now I currently have an iPhone, but I still really like Android. I just like to mix it up and try the different devices from time to time. But
yes, in Brazil, the iPhones are very, very expensive. And most people have Androids. And if we consider developing for final clients, like let's say I have some applications that run into devices like for big clients, and right. In all cases I use Android as the platform because the tablets or the mobile devices in general are cheaper. So the clients want to go that way. But in my personal use, I like iOS better.
Yeah. Well, the advantage of developing it with Delphi, though, is that you can run it on either platform.
Yes. I don't have a problem out of that.
Yep. So any thoughts about future technology, things you're excited about going forward, or recent news, anything like that you're excited about, learning more about, using more?
Well, I'm very excited about using more IoT, definitely. It's not for me, it's a matter of having a final application. I have some stuff that I develop not for making money out of it, and I do like for hobby, just to make myself ready in order to make money out of that thing. But here at my company, I would like to have more opportunities to put IoT concepts in real world applications, like running 24/7, not being able to have downtimes and stuff like that. So IoT is definitely something I really want to see, and I'm very interested. And when I go to the Embarcadero conference, for me, it's very good to go there and speak at the conference. It's very important. I really like it. But for me, it's very, very good to go there and listen to what the other guys are up to. And I always take my time to go, and I usually prefer to go into IoT speeches.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always, it's a great thing about conferences is because you can get a lot of the training through books or reading online or something like that. But at conferences, being able to, have that conversation between sessions and say, ooh, I like what you said about this. Tell me more about that. And that sort of thing is what really makes conferences just a phenomenal resource.
Yes, it's always good. I mean, and because Brazil is so big, like we have this maybe 20, not more than 20 guys that usually show and usually speak at the conference, and it's very hard to meet those guys because they're away. So it's always about Skype or email or WhatsApp, and also the people that are developing solutions. I can only get in touch with that people through social networks. In the conference, it's very good to shake hands and schedule visits and stuff like that.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Victory. This has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed this, learned a lot from all the great projects you're working on.
Thank you very much, Jim. Well, I really appreciate the invitation. I would like to invite everyone to come to the Embarcadero Conference, Brazil. It's very nice to have you guys here. Embarcadero always brings people from outside. We had Marco Cantù last year, but we are open. I mean, we are a huge and beautiful country working with Delphi and running a lot of very good solutions developed with Delphi. So it's nice for us to have you guys coming here and sharing our experience and sharing knowledge and getting to learn with people from outside too.
Yeah,
so,
I've enjoyed the times I've been down there for the Embarcadero conference. It's great.
Okay.
Fantastic. And thanks for all your work as an MVP as well. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Join us next week and we'll talk with another one of our fabulous MVPs, Jens Fudge from Denmark. As always, if you'd like to find more episodes of the podcast at delphi.org or any more information about our episodes, please visit delphi.org. Our background music is provided by a friend of mine, Phil Smith. Thanks, Phil, for the music. Until next time, may all your code compile and your programs be exceptional.